Namaste. Thank you for joining with Grace and Joy. I'm Jessyca Eve, and I'd like to lead us today in a practice that is a little bit more yin inspired, rooted in a tradition of softness and fluidity. We're going to go ahead and get started with a practice of pranayama that we call alternate nostril, anuloma viloma, or maybe nodi sharana, depending on your lineage. We're going to start it normal, or in a traditional way, choosing not to retain any breath for this style of practice, so not exploring kumbhaka for today. We're going to lift up our right arm, try to keep that elbow even with your shoulder so that you're really allowing the heart to spill into this right hand. We're going to drop down our middle finger and ring finger, and we're going to begin to take our index finger and place it right at the spot that we call our third eye. From here, we're going to just bring some light awareness, neutralizing our spine, drawing tall through the crown of our head, and tucking our chin lightly. Going ahead and coming into one natural breath here, inhaling through the nose, both nostrils, and exhaling here completely. Now taking that thumb, closing the right nostril, inhale through the left nostril. Taking the pinky, closing the left, opening the right, and releasing the breath here. Inhaling through this right nostril. Closing it off, opening the left, and exhaling. Inhaling here, coming into our second round. Closing the nostril, opening the right, and exhaling. Inhaling here softly. Closing it off, opening up, and exhaling completely. Coming into just one more round like this, inhaling. Closing it off, opening up that right nostril, and exhaling. Inhaling here. Closing off that right nostril, releasing through the left, and exhaling. From here, we're going to take a series of breaths just through the left nostril. Inhaling right here. Keeping this nostril open, exhaling. Repeating here, inhaling through the left. And exhaling. One final breath like this, inhaling. And as we release, we exhale out of both nostrils. Take the hands into the Anjali Mudra, heart center, tucking the chin slightly, closing the eyes, and just feeling in to the left side of the body. Bringing some slight awareness again into the spine, drawing the navel in passively, squeezing the ribs subtly, and releasing the shoulders softly. Begin to come into an intention for your practice. Again, the idea is to be rooted with yin, strong yet soft, solid and stable. When you feel you've set this intention, go ahead and release the hands onto the tops of the knees. And we're going to come into a few Sufi grinds just to get moving. We're going to inhale, release our shoulders, lift up through the sternum, and then exhale, keep the seat heavy and fold down. As you inhale, come into one side in a circular motion. And as you exhale, fold down to the other side. We're going to just take a few of these, revolving in the same direction, moving soft and subtly. Just tapping into the connection that we can create with breath and movement here. Taking just a few more rounds like this, keeping it soft and subtle. And when you feel ready, just very intuitively come into the other direction. Again, keeping the seat heavy, both sit bones rooted into the earth. We're going to talk throughout this practice about what it means to be yin the mindset, the vibe, the biomechanics involved of our yin tissues. But for now, just connect with that breath-body connection and allow yourself some time and space to connect within. I'd like for us to slowly and naturally make our way, not overthinking it, to a standing posture. Trying to maintain a little bit of movement, and a little bit of, again, fluidness to the body. So just beginning to maybe arrive to the knees or to the soles of the feet, and just still maintaining a little sway or a shift in weight. Slowly coming up into standing, keeping again the body soft, finding some subtle movement through the spine, letting the shoulders and the head relax. Slowly arriving into stillness, finding the feet about as wide as the hips, taking the hands into heart center, slowly inhaling, rising the right up and leaving the left to hang. Find the chin slugged tightly, slightly, and the top of the head drawing towards the ceiling. Go ahead and just softly close your eyes here. Start to draw the arm so it's even with the ear and the shoulders are away. Coming into this stillness, we arrive into this element, this opportunity to stack the bones. So in this practice that we call yin, we're working with our yin tissues. So those are bones, ligaments, connective tissue like fascia and tendons. Also structures of cartilage that we find in our joint spaces. So we work with these tissues, sort of taking out movement out of the equation, relaxing our nervous system, and allowing both our bones and our ligaments to benefit from it. Find a softness and a stillness here. And come into a bit of a meditative stance. Taking subtle, very soft micro adjustments to arrive into a state or a sensation of floating. This idea of yin and yin yoga works again with the concept of stillness and the effect that it has on our sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. This flight or fight response that we may know of can only last about 120 seconds. So if you can just breathe or grit through those moments, it can allow for a deeper release and relax through the nervous system, which translates into a release throughout all tissues, throughout your entire body. So use the breath as the anchor today, as the grounding force, detaching from the body, and just finding the power in the stillness. We're going to take just about one more breath here. As we arrive at our next inhale, lifting up, and exhale, letting that right arm softly release down. Again, tucking the chin and closing the eyes, and just feeling the difference between the right and left sides of the body. Allow this right arm to soften, and the left arm to start moving. Draw the hands into the heart and take it into the other side. As you inhale, draw the left arm up, and let the right release. Again, arriving into an element of stacking, coming into soft stillness, and honoring the hold. Finding the structure that provides optimal functioning. And just be. Softening the gaze, softening the mind. Closing the eyes, as we often do in yin, our drishti is inward. So again, less movement. The idea of balance is not so crucial. And we can close the eyes and start to not only look inward, but upward. Try to draw the focus up through the third eye. And keep your shoulders soft, but your abdominals lightly engaged. Feeling the fingertips stacked on top of the wrist and the wrist on top of the shoulders. And finding a nice long neutral spine. Feel the heels heavy into the earth. And the legs solid. Feeling a passiveness to the activity and honoring the dichotomy of each posture, the yin and yang that exist in every asana. Taking just a few more breaths here. On that next inhale, lifting that left arm, and exhale, bringing it down. Coming into Samastiti, letting the shoulders release away from the ears and the head hang heavy. Again, just observing now the left side of the body. Bringing awareness into the hands, the palms, the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders. On the next inhale, go ahead and swoop those arms up at the same time. Rising here, bringing the head a little bit higher, shoulders down, away from the ears, almost as if you're squeezing like a yoga block, or some sort of structure, so that the hands maintain a space about as wide as the shoulders. Again, using the breath to anchor you. Closing the eyes and drawing the gaze up through the third eye. Rooting through the heels, drawing the kneecaps gently towards the hips and dropping the tailbone down to the ground. Softly draw the navel in and squeeze the ribs lightly, creating a form that feeds this function to densify the bones. And to nourish the joints. Try to keep the face soft and the mind at ease. If we find the simplicity still a challenge, offer it up. Try to resist attaching to the sensations of discomfort or the monkey mind's tendency to want to bail out of the pose. Just find yourself being here, rooted and risen. Feel yourself a conduit of energy from the earth to the heavens. And just allow your breath to move through your body. Allow the oxygen to softly nourish the blood, which will flow back into the fingertips and the palms and the wrist in just a moment. Creating again an optimal and alkaline environment for the body. Just taking a few more breaths just like this, keeping the chin lifted and the hands energetically drawn towards one another. Finding a subtleness in this erect posture, finding a softness in the stance. On the next inhale, rise up tall through the fingertips, and this time exhale softly, letting the hands fall through your electromagnetic field. Arriving here in Samasthiti, bringing awareness now evenly into both hands as the pose implies. Taking a nice deep breath here through the nose. And just flushing a little out the mouth. Taking that 2 more times, inhaling. One more time. Drawing the hands back up as you inhale, interlacing the fingers, elbows wide. Exhale, take the hands to the nape of the neck. Let the head hang, drawing the chin in towards the chest, and the elbows draw in towards one another. Feel the weight of the head releasing the back of the neck, and allow the shoulders to release. Take the breath into the back of the heart here. And use the inhales to expand between the shoulder blades and the thoracic back. Try to maintain a long neutral stance from the heels to the shoulders, only working the top segment of the spine, the neck. Feel the shoulders releasing away from the ears and away from one another. Let the ribs grow wide with each inhale, and actively exhaling completely. We're going to just take about 5 more breaths just like this, inhaling deeply and exhaling completely. Try to release any gripping or clenching you feel in the jaw, in the brow, in the shoulders. And just taking one more final breath like this. As you exhale, releasing the hands down to the side. So from here, coming into your next inhale, gently begin to rise the neck softly and safely back into a neutral position. And just exhale here, softening through the body. On our next inhale, bring the arms up. Again, finding length and stretch, a little vitality here. Exhale, spill forward, hinging at the hips softly. Maybe bringing a slight bend into the knees, leading with the heart, and coming down into a very soft Uttanasana, forward fold. So just bringing the gaze, the head hanging softly, and the gaze in towards the navel. So if you have tight hamstrings, maybe bending the knees slightly here might be to your benefit, or drawing the toes together into what we might call a pigeon-toed stance. We are going to be here quite a while, so even if you don't normally take a little bend in the knees, you might want to. Keep the rest of the body soft and hanging. Try not to hold yourself up. Just find a complete release
If the legs are nice and straight, draw the hips slightly forward. Again, creating an element of bone stacking, hips on top of the ankles. Allowing gravity to work into your benefit here with heavy arms, heavy head to release through the rest of the spine. And again, just coming into soft but deep breaths. Trying to use each breath to lengthen the back of the legs, to release the lower back, and to release through the neck. Keep the belly soft, almost hollow. And release any gripping, holding, or tension that we might feel. Maybe in the back of the ankles, like the Achilles tendon. Maybe through the back of the knees. Maybe we find ourselves clenching or grinding the teeth in the jaw. Use this opportunity to just see where you can let go, where you can soften, where you can arrive a little more deeply into the self. Maybe arriving into soft, subtle movements like some swaying back and forth or side to side. Maybe now taking the elbows into opposite hands and allowing the forearms to slide closer to the earth, again pressing hips forward, as if we're almost breathing here through the back of the knees. Trying to create length through the ligaments and space in the joints. And again, bringing the breath into the back side of the body. Holding here for just a few more breaths. Gently bringing the hands to the earth, maybe on the fingertips, maybe on the palms, bending the knees if it's needed. And just gently rise the body. Allow those arms to dangle and the head to dangle. Slowly drawing the shoulders up towards the ceiling and then moving them away from the ears, bringing the head into a neutral space. We're going to widen our feet about the width of your mat, a little wider than your hips. And we're going to just bring the seat down into what we call malasana. This nice squat, keeping the heels of the feet onto the floor, pressing through the pinky sides of the foot, using the elbows here to push the knees and release the hips. Once you feel you've come into your sweet spot, let the arms hang down, maybe even touching onto the floor, and release the head here. Again, coming in to soft but deep breaths. Feeling the heaviness of the pelvis weighing down to the earth, releasing and opening up the hip flexors. Find a mild push with the elbows into the knees to continue to create that openness. Make sure your knees are protected and feeling okay with this degree of bend, or bend, I should say. Feel all toes evenly pressing into the earth. Feel the heels rooted deeply into the ground. Again, let that head hang, let the body start to slouch as you come a little bit more comfortable with this posture. Taking just a few more breaths. Gently, patiently straightening the legs, finding a little bit of length into the spine, and just shifting the weight through the hips. Beginning to widen the stance, widening the legs. Keeping again all the feet evenly grounded onto the earth. And begin to let the head hang, maybe touching into the ground, maybe not. If the head rests here comfortably, just let the arms hang anywhere you'd like. Just finding again a softness and a release. And then begin to come just into a few little shifts. Again, bringing some awareness, movement, blood, and oxygen into these spaces. Gently arrive back into a standing position. Again, letting the head and arms dangle and drawing the body vertebra by vertebra up into a standing position. Neutralizing the head and letting the shoulders release from the ears. Draw the feet in with heavy stances and stomps, starting to draw the energy in and down to the body. Just take a few heavy stomps into the ground here. And then arrive gently into, again, Samastiti. Let the chin hang softly into the chest. Release the shoulders away from the ears. And feel yourself rooted in yin. Thanks so much for watching today. If you enjoyed these videos, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.